the other end again. The Brumbies playing a smart game here.
Yeah, of that package that we just showed you, it was really only the wicket special that you actually were challenging the stumps. When Australia has actually challenged the stumps, they've looked reasonably comfortable in Afghanistan. With 3 slips, covers wide as the M2 travelling last night between Pindi and Lahore. Rained the entire way down too, by the way. 5 hours of rain. Extras now. Sorry, excuse me for laughing. I'm not sorry in the slightest laugh. 15 extras. And now we see this ground basket, beautiful sunshine on a good wicket, swinging a little bit. Got a different feel to it as to what I was here 4 days ago. The humidity stepped up a notch. And so too is the movement off the wicket. At last, a glorious cover drive. We've been waiting for it, and Sadiq provides an element of class. Yeah, 1 for 15. He's finally made contact. A little fuller on this occasion. Johnson just missing his length. Fuller, same sort of width, and was able to just slide his hands through the ball.
Well, they took point out and they've put him into a wide gully. There is effectively one player in front of the stumps on the offside. Look at that space. So what that field is saying is that they want him to be able to play his hands through that. Steve Smith was clapping after the shot. Beautiful hand position. Nice extension through the ball. Almost wonder as well, maybe these last couple of deliveries, he pulls his length back just like that. Sadiq struggled against South Africa with those short pitch deliveries. So he's saying, is it going to be short? And if it's not, is your footwork going to be an issue? Look at those slips. Look at that space. This is test match cricket, isn't it?
The deck gap again. Well, Steve Smith's given them the invitation. He's given them the invitation twice, and Alex Carey runs it down, but that's a 4 and a 3. And not overhit. Stroked. Yeah, very good pickup. Allowed the ball to come a little bit more. See, the contact point was that. It was right by his front leg. On previous occasions with a slightly different length, the length that's kind of a more hard length that he's been operating here, Johnson. He's been going really hard with his hands, trying to make the contact way out in front of his body.
Whoa.
Leaves it alone in the end, perhaps. Bowler dominated, 33 for 1. It's good news for you spectators because we've got some bowlers coming in to explain what the heck's going on.
All day seen TV. This over. So he can watch that task of it.
A lovely Friday afternoon, particularly for fast bowlers. Sun out, some clouds about. There's been some rain. This pitch's been undercover for a couple of days. And in a one-day game, a proliferation of slippers. All the way into over number 8 with the ball swinging round corners. Won the toss and batted Afghanistan. and would not have expected that the swing and movement of the seam would go on to this point. Still must weather this storm. It's been a good start though. Only one down while the ball has been going around corners. It's a good sign. Has been a lot more movement than what we've seen. Good strike. Good enough to get it away for 4 more. Precious few to hit away to the boundary. And so they'll treasure these. Just a fraction of width on offer here. Just throwing his hand through the ball. It's not a huge amount of control there. There's only 2 fields in front of the wicket to beat. That's the length there. The bat just slicing. Base of the bat staying way open right through contact. Not a huge gap there, but he found it. You're batting at the top of the order and you haven't had a huge amount of strike. Just 11 balls faced halfway through the 8th over. Starting to get antsy. You want to feel bat on ball. Pull back that length. Seemed to stand up a little bit. Played well enough. Ibrahim. You've been good watching Dorshus and Johnson. Just thinking about their psyche after their game here in the previous game against England and the lengths that they had to bowl there on a pitch that was really good for batting and ball disappear into the boundary often. Slightly too full, it allows for another couple. The 2 left-handers operating with new balls in their hand and their grips. The thing that fascinates me between Dorshus and Spencer, how deep in his hands Spencer actually grips the ball, whereas Dorshus is a little bit more orthodox, holding it maybe on the front digit of the thumb and the 2 fingers above. Actually bowled and well played too. Playing dead straight. 41 for 1 after 8. Growing up, you talk about holding the ball quite lightly at the front of the fingers with the grip. Johnson on the left holds it very deep in the hands and it's almost on the middle of the thumb, balancing the ball in the middle of the thumb. Whereas Dorshus on the left holds it in a more orthodox manner. It doesn't mean one is right or wrong or one more effective than the other. So colourful, always. The Afghan supporters absolutely loving their team's progress on the world stage. Nice shot. Just a single though. And you get a sense that 8 overs in, it might just be easing in terms of how much swing they're getting, these left armers. You can see they're 52% and 51% in the length area. But on a surface like this, when the ball's going around corners, we've seen a lot of swing, a lot of seam. But they've just got it up there a little bit more. Drawn the batters forward. Look to make them play down the ground.
As a top order batter, the last thing that you want when the ball's going around is having your stumps and your front pad challenged. But by doing that, you're bringing in both edges of the bat, particularly with two left-armers bowling to a right-hander, for example. Ball swings back, your inside edge, your pads, your stumps are in play. And then we often see with left-armers now, they're prepared to knock the ball off its axis and go across the right-hander. So the balance game between attack and defence becomes a really delicate one. Your footwork has to be really sharp. Your decision-making has to be crisp. But what we're seeing, particularly from Spencer Johnson, is there's been some wild stuff as well. So to get in a rhythm can be really difficult at times.
I was referring to thought process.
What a
The
shot.
bowlers, some movement past that edge, and the disappointment there. Able to get to it, keep swinging away from him. Eat and drink. Sweat on something like that on a day where it's going past his outside edge. And Johnson will be very disappointed because it's an easy ball, it's an easy boundary.
There's a gift for a top order player. If there's something that you just get away, potentially get down the other end, gets four. With how much it's been swinging, you can sense the frustration from the Australians. Feel as though in a situation like this, they should be 2, maybe 3 down. But the Australian quicks just haven't quite got it right first up.
To say that it's swinging around corners and then to see reactions like this from the skipper. You have a look here. That grimace to me says, oh, where are you, Cummins? Where are you, Stark? Where are you, Hazelwood? Because throw them in here on a surface that's doing this at the start of the game, and you're struggling to get those 47. You're probably struggling to get 7. Yeah, Pommy, you talked about it. I think you talked about it. Next goal, Finchy. The conditions that you probably think if you think red ball cricket and the battle actually, where both sorts of skills come through with the bat, negotiating the moving ball and bowling 48 for 1. Too much of this with one on top and the adjustment of line moving too straight. There hasn't been enough of the Afghanistan batters having the surge on the front foot, being able to head back. Yes, there's been some beauty bowling that first 9 overs. Just hasn't challenged the defence enough. Nathan Ellis. The brief was simple for him in the previous game. And we're so at the mercy of conditions, of the surface, atmospheric conditions as well, and you've got to ensure that you use them optimally. Now, I said in the previous game as well, it starts with the wide there, that it probably worked in his favour turning up first change, and it was very much a defensive game, wasn't it? And what we have today is where he must continue with the attack. And I say the attack in that he's got to be fuller today. He's got to try and swing it because there's swing in the air, and to try and take wickets. Not ideal if you're Australia here. Yes, they chose to bat first, to not use the conditions and take wickets. So your back of a length is not what you're after here. You're after a little bit fuller, You're carrying slips, a couple of slips there, and you've got to try and find that edge. 50 comes up for Afghanistan, who are doing decently in an attempt to weather this early storm.
مرګري دوستانو ته نه برخمن شي.
Yeah, Bobby, you talked about finding that edge, and there's appropriate length. It's not the only length where you can find the edge. We can see a short ball nicked off behind, outside of stump or on the pull. But there was one delivery, I think it was Cautious who bowled one this afternoon, I should say.